All right, I got my Yamaha ls2000. It's another new boating season. I just renewed the registration and the insurance, and I pulled the cover off. It's not too bad through the winter. I pulled that back piece off that holds all the life vests. Look in the engine bay, a little water, no big deal. Look at the right engine, looks good. Look at the left engine. Bam! What is up with that? That'll put a damper on your day. So I need to take this whole thing apart. And I called a guy and he said if it's not that bad, he can weld it back together. But that aluminum looks so thin and brittle. I'm going to order a new upper, I don't even know what it's called, exhaust up pipe maybe or something. So I got to take all that apart tonight. Alright, so you are over top of the motor. I'm going to pop these spark plugs off to get the wire out of the way. No, she's a tight one. Oh, I'm going to take this, whatever this does, off. Looks like a vacuum line or something. There you go. We'll do a little spin action and it really helps. This water shoots out of the port on the side of the boat here for some odd reason that I don't need to know. Then there's another band underneath here where the U-turn is. Get that all the way around. Alright, that's loose. Maybe I'll loosen this up too for fun. Okay, that's nice and loosey-goosey. I'm gonna take this bolt. I think they call this the exhaust hanger. From what I'm reading online, this whole black part came with one, but I don't really need it, so I'm gonna pop that off. All right, it's a 9/16 socket. Wow, how do you like that? I hate when manufacturers do that. I gotta get an open end wrench. I do have a ratcheting open end wrench, is so nice. Pop this sucker off. Okay. Now I'll take this little doodad off, whatever that does. Maybe a sensor. Okay, it is a 10. I don't know what this is, but it's a something. I guess it's a yep, it's definitely a something. Next is this guy, which is just a zippity doo dah tie. Nice. Down here is another band clamp. Nice. And last, looks like 4 bolts underneath the jammer. 2 bolts. These are 12s. Whoa, they're tight.
Superman tighten that. I wonder what that torque spec is on that. Nice. Beautiful. All right, if you take off this big band, you'll notice that there's two more hiding underneath this black cover here. Right there. So that'll take the little U-turn thingy off. All right. Pretty loosey-goose now. I just have to deal with taking this bottom boot that's so corroded on there. I do have this silicone spray that I can spray. All right. I think if I take it this way, lift it, turn it, it'll pop right out. All right, I got that part off. I'm gonna put that to the side together. All right, standing in the engine bay, I yanked this way real gently, and then the silicone should loosen that joint up. Yeah, that's nice right there. All right, cool. I got it off. I hear that silicone doesn't dry out rubber like WD-40 does. I think that's true. I don't know, but that's what I've read somewhere. So as you can tell, I was going to re-weld this, but there's two pieces here. There's one here and then one over top, and I don't think that's re-weldable. So all right, so I cleaned the heck out of the boat. I did find a replacement part for that exhaust piece, so I can replace that. I found it online. Some guy, Sea-Doo Bill, he's on eBay, and this one is not cracked. It was like $200 and some, and it looks good. It's barely corroded and the inside looks great, so I picked the best looking one. And I got two cheapy fuel filters because there's not much fuel coming out of the fuel filters. And on top of that, I will have time this week to finish my couple projects I'm doing, because I got COVID finally after 1.5 or 2 years of dodging it. I finally got it, so I have a week off of work, so excuse my stuffy nose. This is from 1998, it says on the sticker, and that looks really clean inside, just black soot. And this looks super new. Look at this. This is from 2000, and that's the whole inside. That's horrible. And then this side is just as bad. So I'm worried about this one. The other motor is not too far behind, I'm assuming, but if it ain't broke, right? Okay, I'm gonna put it back together. I got this in there, this on here, and that points this way. You know what? I'm gonna try it this way. Nice. Now I'm gonna stick this in here. Stick this in there. Should go nicely. that sounded good. Oop, sorry, punched you. Beautiful. Got that on there. Got that clamp on. Now slide this sucker in here. Yep, under. Slide that in there. For some don't know what that does either. Nice. Spark plugs are good. I checked them while everything was out. So let's get this. Pop this on here, Jack. See how much gas this leaks out, huh? There's a skinny end and a fat end. That's the fat side, the skinny side. Nothing. Cool. Makes life easy. And there's a little in the filter. Okay. Down you go. All right, minimal mess. And that's how you do it. I'll do the other one. I did run into another little problem with the boat that I thought was a big problem, but it wasn't. I thought the motor was locked up on this side. So I took the whole impeller off the housing and everything. And I spun the PTO on the back side of the motor, and it spun freely, so I knew it wasn't that. So when I tried to start it, the starter would bang, 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 and it wouldn't do anything. So I didn't know it, but it's a common problem with these is the housing of the impeller shrinks over time, I guess, from all the salt water or whatever, and or it expands inside, I guess you want to call it. And there was a couple high spots, not much, but there were a couple high spots on the wear ring here that the impeller was hitting. So I sanded it real nice. On the internet it says don't sand them down, just buy a new one. So I had to sand it down and not buy a new one. So I hope it works. I used the die grinder and it turned out really nicely, really smooth. I sanded it really nicely. So I'm going to put all this back. This worked nicely with a air die grinder, and I used a couple sanding wheels, and it shined the inside up really nicely and smooth. This is just the after of taking everything apart last night, and here's what it should look like. I'm going to clean each mating surface up here with just my wire brush real quick. All right, everything is shiny, brand new. I used a wire wheel on a drill. I have some marine grease in my grease gun. So I'm going to, everyone online says don't use sealant, because if you just take it apart again, which I'm sure I will, the silicone or whatever sealant you use makes it that much tougher to take apart again, and there's no real need for the sealant. I guess one could argue that, but I will not. If these were flat surfaces, I could
see needing sealant, but these have a male, I'll call it, and a female end, so they fit inside each other. I'm putting grease on it just to try to keep corrosion out between them as best as possible. Let's slip that in there. The end of this shaft on the turbine has some groove splines in it, so I'm going to just grease the heck out of that. All right, I'm going to slide the turbine in. And that was the piece that the housing that the turbine was rubbing against. You find that hole and you can spin everything slowly to catch those splines. It might have been easier to put this all together down here. All right. All right. The 4 bolts across are 30 foot-pounds. Steering goes here. And apparently this is very important to have these bolts here on this support here. Important enough that they don't want to go in. There you go. Have these on, and then when you took them off, you should have remembered where the shims go. There are 2 shims here that go on the left side. So when the manufacturer screws up the bracket, they put it on you to shim it in place. I love it. That's awesome. And these are 1/2 inch, which makes total sense because the rest of the boat was metric. Okay, I'm gonna put the spark plugs in and turn the batteries on and see what happens. All right, turn the batteries on. I'm going to be pulling fuel from this fuel tank, and it's a vacuum. You have to pull it with a vacuum. There's no fuel pump, so that'll be the motor's job to pull fuel through my new filters. So let's go over here. Got your little thingy thing on. Looks good. Okay, I'm going to start engine number 2 and see what happens. Choke is out. All right, choke lever is out. Let's pull this sucker and see what happens. And I totally forgot to put that door down for the dead switch. Okay, let's try number 2 again. Here we go. Little starting fluid, never hurt nobody. He started right up and then kept going because of the fuel. Something probably fell down there. But, I mean, that is it. I am so happy. It was either the motor being seized and I was selling the boat, or the PTO being stuck and I was fixing it. So, I'm happy it was just the propeller and not the motor for my sake and the boat's sake. So, that's it. All right, we are all cleaned up. I just need to clean off all my footprints up there. And I am ready for the new boating season. And I'm very excited.